Yo, we're here, y'all. Welcome to the Uninvited podcast, where we talk about things that will get you uninvited to your next dinner party, man. Listen, main man Matt is back in the building, yo. I'm happy about that.
Right.
Main man Matt is here. Dwayne is here. My man Brice is here. Listen, y'all, Ricky's running late. He'll be right there. Shout out to our producer, Defay, who hosts this wonderful podcast, wonderful studio. You know what I'm saying? Big ups and a round of applause.
Yay.
A round of applause to Fake Cool. You know, we have a wonderful audience behind us that you guys get a chance to hear. I'm sure you can see them in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Natalie's here.
Oh boy,
Emmy's here.
Natalie had an argument with me. Natalie had an argument with me a couple of podcasts ago, so I'm hoping for the best.
She here live ready.
I'm hoping for the best.
Yo, she here live ready to throw punches.
That's right. So, I'm hoping for the best.
Nah, but this is a good time. Ricky will be here with us, man. And if you guys haven't got a chance to do this already, you already know. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. All right, it greatly helps the channel out, you know. So listen, let's get right into it, man. Modern women in this society, bro. Like this temperature of I guess where I should start is, how has this society in today's age influenced even some of the traditional women that I'm seeing is having a change of like this modernized thought process, you know what I'm saying, in terms of how they think of relationship or
Modernized how? What do you mean?
Just the me, go get me. I'm gonna go for all the careers. I'm gonna do all the stuff that I gotta do. And here's what ends up happening, right? So it's like I'm gonna queue up some. I'm gonna ask Faco to queue up something in a second, right? But okay. here's the like the meat of the argument or the meat of the issue, and then I'll throw it out there to you guys, and you guys could just jump in there and go crazy, right? Right. So it's basically saying in our society right now, right? You have women who works hard as they should, accomplish great things as they should, right? And what usually happens within the context of a relationship or a marriage within is you have these women who does all these amazing things, right? And they're awesome at, right? And they come home and the home gets like 20% of them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
20% of them in the sense of saying like they're out there, they're working, they're accomplishing all these great things, right? They have all this energy for that, right? But the same energy that they need to have for the home, right? A lot of the times is really just not there, right? Now, people can say, oh, that's because they're tired. That's because, you know, they have all this stuff, right? But I want to pinpoint this one thing that I posted up earlier. This joint, and Dwayne, I want you to read that for us, yo, like real quick, and then it'll kind of give perspective.
All right, let me get my black Hebrew Israelite. All right,
of like where I'm leading with this, you know.
All right, so it's a post by Jennifer Mollis. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. My mission in life is to make my husband's life as easy, happy, fun, and profitable as possible. Every action I take is to be an asset to him, not a liability. Would modern women consider me more noble if I did that for a company instead? You want me to...
Well, go first.
Okay. So everything that she's saying, on its face, it's cool. Yeah. I don't have an issue with it. I mean, I believe it's make my husband. So if you're in a marital relationship, yeah, your goal should be to make your spouse happy as much as it's possible. So on its face, I don't have an issue with it. Modern women consider me more noble. When she says modern women, like, is there a like, what there's certain women out there that don't want to have a home or hold a home or make their spouse happy.
Well, that's like, precisely what we're talking about. Like, she's saying that, right? And then that could be within the context of a relationship or a marriage, whatever the case may be. Right. But majority of women now don't give a damn. They don't see that as they don't see them being home as anything as being of value. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or them being in that role per se, as she's saying it, as being of anything of value. They think that it's less than.
I think David Joyce, who was an audience member last week, he brought up a very good point. He said that there was like with a pendulum swing. We've swung the pendulum because there's been a time where women have been home, women have been relegated to the home, and even in some cases forbidden to do anything outside of it. They've been repressed for so long that when they're able to go out now, there's a pendulum swing all the way to the other end, to where not only are they going out and not caring about the home as much, they shame those who want to be home. So I'm not for the shaming. If there's somebody that wants to be home, then that's fine. But what we also have to realize too is in what you just explained, you said that there's a woman, she's out there, she has a career, she's doing all of these things, and then when she gets home, she's tired, so she has no more energy for the home. And I was like, how much energy are you supposed to have? I'm like, you can't do all things well. So if there's a woman that wants to go out and have a career and do those things, then yeah, she's not gonna be. You can't be a housewife and a career woman at the same time in the same place at the same time. And if you do it, you're not doing both of those things well. So
Agreed.
That's just how it goes. So then the question would be, if she's in a marital relationship or if she's in a long-term relationship, there will have to be some slack taken up by the guy in that relationship. Or I don't want to assume, because sometimes they have other relationships, but yeah, there would have to be some slack taken up. So I know men who have a housewife at home, but they'll still help out around the house and things of that nature, because it's just what helps the house go better.
You think that's realistic? You think that's actually what's happening in relationships today?
What?
Like all right, let's break it down in culture, right? You think black women act like that? This is a white woman that posted this, actually. Right? Do you think black women take note, accept this?
Well, there's a story behind that, and I would say some of them do not, because again, that's that pendulum swing. But if you have a nice non-toxic relationship, that's usually, you can get that. Depending on how your relationship is.
You can get what?
If a woman is saying that if there's a woman in a relationship that will not do that at all, you would have to examine the relationship and see why. So if there's a sense in where there are some people, there are some women out there that, are totally upset, and regardless, this might have been how they grew up or what they've seen, that will not do that even for the best of guys. There are certain situations where a woman won't do that because the man that's in the situation will not cultivate the type of environment where she'd be able to do that. So what I'm saying is, if she's working, he's working, and then they're both working the same amount, and then when he comes home, he turns on the game. When she comes home, she's like, all right, where's my dinner? It's like both of y'all are working. So that there has to be some parity in between. So that would make the person that's looked at to do more of the work bitter. And she's not going to want to do that.
So, Matt, do you think it's healthy for a woman to, it's healthier, would it make a relationship healthier for a woman to assume this role?
Well, see, my question is, before I get into that, is, are there women that actually frown upon...
For doing that?
That frown upon other women for doing that? I didn't know that was...
No, that's a thing, bro.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
There's actually women who frown upon women who...
Because you're looked at as if you're a woman and you do all the things that she said, the thing is you're looked at as less than. Like, oh, you're doing all this for your husband. Like it's not something that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be out there chasing your careers and all that stuff. And my thing that I'll throw out there to you is, right, and as a man, and I can speak from a man's point of view, right, is sure, get all the accolades in the world, right? But at the end of the day, I don't care. That's not what makes me as a man happy to have you as my spouse. It's not because you got a bunch of careers. Who gives a damn? If you suck at home, all my point of reference is how you are at home. It's not so much all the stuff that you've accoladed. So like to us that is a little bit old school, as they call it, in that thought process, right? Now we're the anomaly. We're the people like, well, yeah, it's one of them. But for me, sure, I would applaud any woman go to the highest heights and depths of depths. But at the end of the day, that's not what really matters to a dude.
Well,
To me, at least, that's not what matters to me at the end of the day. Like,
well, I mean, it's all about also you have to figure out who you're marrying. Because there are women that have advanced degrees that they've spent they want to go to school and they want to do all those things. If you're a traditional dude, then obviously that woman is not the one for you. You know, you have to have one of those. You have to have one of those conversations. Like, all right, listen. And this happens when you're dating. Well, what are your aspirations? Well, I want to work for NASA. So, you know, if you're saying I want somebody at home to do this, that, and the third, that woman isn't the one for you. But there are women that want to assume that role. You just have to figure out which ones those are, you know, and be all right with not.
Well, what I'm saying is too is like, Matt, throw it back at you, is like there is men out there, right, and the majority of men out there who really don't care. As a matter of fact, when one of the biggest things when a man cheats on a woman, right, and here goes the girl, like, what? She's less than me. She doesn't. Right, exactly, because it was never about what you had. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And that's what men talk about. That's locker room talk. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, sure, good. We don't care at the end of the day, right? We just care about like how you handle yourself when we're at the crib. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's what's most important. So when this came up, it struck a nerve, because I'm like, is this a society issue? How society makes it? Because yes, to your point, women do work a whole lot more, right? And so they come home and they're like, all right, they're tired, and what the heck do you expect them to do? Unless you're saying to them, don't work, and then you take care of everything, right? Right. That could be that's one argument, right? But what I'm saying is there is such a thing where it's like, whether that they had to do it on purpose or by force, right? I mean, when I say by force, I mean they have to work, they have no choice, right? Either way, when you come home, there's not much of you left for your family, bro.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So then what do?
Well,
how does that change?
Either
there's not much for your husband, and if you have kids, there's not much for your kids, right? There's a little 2 hours that you have available.
Yeah. Well, no,
and then you go to sleep and you repeat the same cycle.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. She's a human being. She can't do both things well. So either the guy in the situation says, I'll take care of all the bills. I'll work, and you could be a stay-at-home mom. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. She's great with the kids. You know, she, because that's her role. That's what she wants to do. And I didn't make her do it. She just sat down and said, hey, how about I be a stay-at-home mom? And I'm like, that's a slamming ass idea. And then, so she'll cook. And then even when I get home, with the 2 hours I got, I still help out as well. So that's just how it works. But you can't do both things well. You can't be a stay-at-home mom and a career woman at the same time and do it well. You can do it, but it won't be the greatest job.
I think you could do it well. I think it's
you could do. Go ahead, Matt.
I think you could do both well. I think it's probably how you assert yourself. I think there's that concept of working smarter versus working hard. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes certain things need to be assessed. I think that, is it really worth losing or not using your home skills or your skills for home for the sake of, getting better at your career? I don't know. I just think there's ways to work around it. I think you could be good at both.
Well, no, I'm saying you could work around it, but I'm saying there's only but so many hours in the day. That's like, you spend 8 hours, sometimes more if you have a career. So you're saying 8 to 10 hours at your career. You come home, you spend maybe, with travel time and all that stuff, you've only got 2-3 hours for the rest of them, for the rest of what you're doing before you have to go to sleep. So if there's 24 hours a day and you have children, those children are with somebody else for those waking hours, and then you're with them for 3. So who has more of an influence over your children? Whoever is with them the rest of the hours. So when I say you can't do all things well, I'm not saying that you can't be present for both. I'm not saying that those aren't a slamming 3 hours that you're giving your children and your household. I'm saying that you can't spend the amount of time or quality time that you would, because at some point, especially when they become teenagers, whoever's with your kids the more is who they listen to. So if it's the school system, yeah, they'll start to emulate that. Or if it's somebody else, they'll start to emulate that. If it's grandma, they'll emulate grandma. But you can't, when I say you can't do both things well, that's just how it goes.
Yo, Isabel's on this. I think it's
Isabel.
all. What's up, Isabel?
What's going on?
I think it's all about the type of person that you are or is. Yeah, I think so. Yo, I see Brice with the mic, man. Yo, Brice, what's good, man? I don't want to leave you hanging, brother. What's popping, man? Jump in there, yo.
I mean, I heard the discussion of, a person can do both. I'm like, yeah, ask Kris Jenner how well she can do both as a career woman.
Ooh, shots fired.
You said ask Kris Jenner. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So then, what's the point? Like, what are you saying?
It was just pretty much along the lines of you have to pick a lane. It's not. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. If you are go for that. Go for that. But at the same time, it's like if you rather, be a stay at home. That's perfect.
But yeah, and also you have to figure out who you're marrying, because you have to, like,
let's just say relationship. Let's not,
or a relationship.
Let's not limit it to the context of marriage.
Right, but if it's a relationship, if you're going in there saying, all right, for a woman that I'm having a relationship with, I need her to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. If she's a career woman, that's not the woman for you. If you're a person that wants his woman to work, and that person is coming in trying to be a stay-at-home mom and taking care of children, you can't then, while she's taking care of children, it's like, well, why don't you have a job? You're just like, well, that's not.
So okay, let me throw this point out there, right? Let me throw this point out there for you guys, because there's scenarios like this that happens. When I read this, I thought about so many different scenarios, right? And I read this as a matter of honor and respect, right? Because essentially what she is, one of the implications of what she said in her post, right, is the fact that you have all this energy for outside, but you don't have that same energy inside. You know what I mean? Like, the boss come, and I'm telling you, like, here you are as a woman, here comes your boss, you're on the up and up. There ain't no back talk, because you get fired, right? There ain't none of that stuff. There's high respect. Why? Because your money's at stake, right? They ain't no, like, you ain't talking to that boss how you talk to me at home. You know that for a fact. And so whether you want to say, oh, they're paying me or not, right? That respect still translate, that, or the lack respect or the lack thereof still translates to a man as like, yo, you have all that energy out there though, right? But you don't got that energy in here. Like, oh, you're awesome at your job. Yeah. And I'm not talking about like people that actually stay at home, because your situation is in Miami, you're different, right? But that's not the majority of dudes that are out there, right? So I'm speaking on not just the majority of dudes that are out there, that a lot of times the respect and honor that they would want to receive from their woman, they don't get that at the home. They watch their women give that in another location, and whether it's money or not, right? Yeah. Then it's one of those things where you start to lose men, because when you start to lose that honor and respect that you would give your boss, right? And then don't do that at home, and you can't replicate that at home, then it becomes an issue. Then you start to lose the man, right? Yeah. You don't say it, but you start to lose him.
Yeah, but the thing is, whoever has a career, men do the same thing. Any person that's been married for more than 15 minutes, if your wife finds out that there's something that you like, or that you are putting your time into that's taken away from the home, and you don't care about the home as much, they have the same argument. So. Yeah, they have the same argument.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, like they'll be like, why are you spending all this time at work? Or little Billy needs this, and you're not paying the same attention here in home than you're doing out there. It's true for pastors. It's true for men that have careers. All that. It's the same thing. Wherever your riches are, there your heart is also. So it's just basically, if you're into career, and that's the same, and it's not an anomaly. Women do it, men do it. Whoever has a career, they're into the career, because that's what they're giving their lives to. But you just have to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, but that's you, bro.
That's everybody.
No, that's not you. That's you. That's not everybody. That's like, dude, listen, Dwayne, have you been out talking to men, bro? Like, you gotta talk to men that
Who am I talking to now?
No, bro. Who am I talking to?
Who are you?
You're talking.
Where your Adam's apple, boy? Where Adam's apple?
You're talking as if you're the only dude. And dude, there's men out there that doesn't feel like that, bro. That's not
what?
The role is different when you're talking about like, oh, it's the same for a man, and the wife is asking about the man out. Listen, if we're talking about traditional man is out there working, right?
Right.
That's what he does.
That is what.
Right.
No, and I wasn't talking about just what he does because people go out and work. I'm talking about
So the
attention
nuances
given.
between the woman role and man role is completely different. That's what I'm saying.
Well, who's saying that?
What way?
It is different.
No. How so? I'm just saying.
The nuances of being a man and a woman is not
No, of
different.
course, no. I'm saying you're talking about working, and I'm
Right.
saying, and in your original example, you said both the man and the woman is working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the woman and man are spending the same 8 to 10 hours outside of the home, and you're saying that the woman was putting all of her attention to the job, and when she got home, she didn't have as much for home. I'm saying men with careers do the same thing. So if we're having this conversation, you're saying that there's somehow a difference, and I want you to explain with the women in the audience. I want you to explain the difference.
The difference of what?
You said that there's a difference between a man that's working and a woman that's working, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, explain the difference.
Yo, you're a man,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
Part of your fulfillment comes from providing, right?
Absolutely.
Am I correct in saying that as a man? Mm-hmm. All right. We have all men in this room, right? So you feel like crap. Well, let me use the proper word. You feel like shit because that's exactly what you feel like. The bottom of the bottom. If you feel like you cannot provide,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's your nature. That's your fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
A woman's fulfillment is the same.
It may not be. Yeah, it may be.
No, is it the same? Yes or no?
Depends on the woman.
Is the woman fulfillment is the same when it comes to that?
I know. Yeah, I know.
The same as the guys?
Depends on the
Yeah.
woman.
The
Can
fulfillment,
be.
the fulfillment comes from working,
Depends
Yeah.
on
or
what
the fulfillment comes from nurturing.
Nah, yeah, no, that's not
I know.
everybody.
Yeah, I know.
So
quite a few.
naturally speaking, a woman is a nurturer, right? Where does their fulfillment come from?
Wait, time out. You're
I'm gonna let the women answer because they're all in the room.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm just throwing it to the guys now, right?
Okay.
Where does the woman's fulfillment come from?
Wherever
I
she wants
just
to
told,
come
I
from.
just told you. No, see, that's that modernized stuff.
Wherever she wants to
No,
come from.
because if you're gonna be like, wherever she wants us to come from, then I'm gonna be like, oh, well, today, man, I'm a cat.
Look,
Or, you know what? I want to be a cat today. Nobody could say me anything. What are we talking about?
No, you're saying.
No, it's not what
you're saying. What you're telling me
saying is
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying this. We are in the context of roles. We've been in this podcast for a minute. Right? We've talked about roles. We talked about gender. We talked about traditional men, traditional women, and absolute truths and or objective truths. You know what I mean? Things that are just staples of our society, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is, our job as a man, we feel we have this sense of fulfillment when we're able to do certain things because that's something that's innately in us. We are barbaric in nature. We go out, we hunt, we bring back home. So do you want the women doing the same thing?
Wait, you asking me what?
So is the woman role the same as mine?
No, it's not.
Like,
it's not
no,
about
it's
the
not.
roles. I think what Dwayne's talking about is the fact that they're not fulfilling that their role. They'll feel the same way as a man feels when he can't fulfill his role.
I agree with that if a woman's not fulfilling her role. What I'm saying is, what is her role?
Well, okay.
What fulfills the woman? Because in this post, she said, going back to this, in this post, she said her mission in life is to make her husband's life as easy, happy, fun, and profitable as possible. Every action I take is to be an asset to him, not a liability. So then in this context, what is her role?
Let me ask you a question.
What is she being fulfillment about? What is she being fulfilled about?
No, whether she's a career woman or whether she's a stay-at-home wife.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you.
It sounds.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So, by what you're saying that their roles. So innately, a man's role, or he gets his fulfillment from providing. A woman gets her fulfillment from nurturing. Is that a clear assessment of what you're saying?
That's one of the assessments.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Let me ask you a question.
Nurturing is part of a woman's trait.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if a man's role is providing, are there men who don't provide and feel all right by it? They don't care. Do they exist?
There are nuances in that.
Do they exist? But they exist.
They exist, but there are nuances.
Okay, so I'm saying if it exists, if there is a man out there who has responsibilities but chooses not to provide and feels no way by it, is it possible that there are women who don't necessarily want to nurture anything, just want to go out and have their career and are totally fine with it?
These are the modern women I'm talking about.
Okay, so if they
these
exist,
are the days that we are in.
so then if,
right now.
right, so if
Right,
those
there are those type of women.
right.
Absolutely.
So if those things exist, that's what I'm saying. Whatever that woman might find fulfillment in, because you're saying if they're not fulfilled by nurturing, or if they're not nurturing, they're not going to find fulfillment. I'm saying, no, there are women out there that just don't want to nurture anything and want to have a cat and $1,000, $1 million paycheck.
So have you spoken to any one of them?
No, they don't talk.
Let me make it a little personal. Have you spoken to any women that have that doesn't want that just has a cat?
Dude, I work.
I know.
I've come across plenty of Karens.
No. What I'm saying is, since we're saying this without facts, right? Have you anybody you know personally that you've spoken to, and a woman that you've spoken to that actually mentioned those things? That said that? That said that they would rather have a cat?
Yeah.
And be okay with it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. 10 years.
Yes.
And you think that's really what they what they desire?
I know. No, actually, I do. I know a woman who's not married, lives in a great apartment, and she has a bunch of PhDs, and she's like, she would have liked to have had a family, but it's not.
She's probably not the nurse.
It's not. She didn't want the headache of having either a man or children. So it's a headache for some of them. So if it's a headache,
she's been through a lot. So she may
she may not have. She just looks around and be like, okay, I don't want this. She's of the generation.
Have you seen a child's dirty diapers?
No.
Some people just don't want to deal with.
She's of the generation that saw the previous generation and what they went through being stay-at-home moms and said, I don't want that shit. And then went on about a business. So that's also a part of it as well. When you start speaking of black women or the black family, they see what happened in the previous generation, especially women, seeing what happened in the previous generation where the dude was out there and he had other families on the same block, and they were like, oh, I had to grow up in this and I don't want that for myself. So they chose not to. It's not worth the headache. So there's also.
So I think we're go ahead, Matt.
I think a lot of this also comes from experience. It would be unfair to throw that kind of, like you say, how you look at different scenarios. That would be unfair to throw that question at women. Like, would you feel that it's more noble if I did it on, at the job? Well, maybe some of these women that are doing it for the job, maybe they have a bad past with men. Maybe they came from relationships that were just totally abusive, and it's like, yo, you know what? Forget this. I'm just gonna stay dedicated to the job because being in a relationship is just costly. In fact, being in a relationship, he became a liability to her. So, like, how do you respond to that? Where women who've been through some stuff with men, where they might have had that attitude or that mindset. Well, you know what? Nobody goes into a marriage or a relationship thinking that it's gonna end, or at least not everybody.
Yeah.
Like when people get married, it's like, they're thinking just like this woman.
Well,
I'm gonna be an asset. I'm gonna be valuable. That's my mission in life. And then the guy treats her like garbage. And then what is her mind? Where is her?
Let me throw that at you. Let me throw this at you. A lot of women I've known, and I'm not gonna say names, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. The way that they grew up was they grew up to be independent of men. And look at this psychology move, right? This thought process, I should say. They grew up, and usually their pops raised them up so that if the man will mess up, that they have their own. So now, granted, a man can mess up. Mm-hmm. But your mentality is, oh, you do this because you need to be independent, because if he mess up, you need to have your own, which is correct. You should have your own, right? But your thought process is already coming in like, oh, I'm doing this in case they're gonna mess up anyways, because right. I'm gonna be this, I can take care of myself and I can do this. It's a defense scheme, right?
But that's just
that
scenario
that they put. No, majority of them, even the ones that we think, even the ones that we think that like that you ask them, yo, what did your pop say to you? Like, how did your pop raise you to be? Right? Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna serve him. I'm gonna be with a man. He's gonna do this, and they're gonna have all this blissful relationship. But I need to have my own, so that if you hear these in conversations,
right?
So, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
No, but like I said, that's just one scenario. But what about the other scenario where it wasn't like that? What about the scenario where they said, "Okay, I'm gonna be this type of woman. I'm gonna be that asset. I'm gonna be that not a liability. This is my mission in life," and things don't work out.
Well, and also you gotta figure out where they're coming from. You know, like I said, the Afro.
So why doesn't things work out? Why doesn't things work out?
Maybe the spouse is just like not a go-getter.
You see, here's here we get.
And sometimes,
sometimes you know where this is going, right? Why doesn't it work out? Again, here comes. Here's another nuance. I'm gonna throw it, Ricky. I'm gonna throw it, you guys. I'm gonna throw it to the audience because I want to hear what the ladies have to say. Right? Here's a little nuance that comes in this post, right here, real quick, right? Whenever you start talking about this, you're like, yeah, and at some point, it's gonna circle back about the man's fault. What I'm seeing consistently has been happening. No, seriously. Oh, why is the relationship not working? Oh, because the man did something. Oh, why is the relationship? Why did she become like that? And she started to be a noble man. Oh, because the man messed up. Sure. At what point? I've heard that 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times.
How do you mess up?
At one point, when are you holding women accountable? At one point. At what point?
How do you mess up being an asset and when it's like your mission in life? Where do you mess up in that?
But what I'm saying is those are the nuances I'm saying. Like, right? Like it's gonna come back. Okay, you're saying she was this asset. She started out that way.
Yeah.
So that means that man messed it up. What I'm saying to you is, oh, that sounds familiar. About the 1,000,000th time I've heard that.
Messed up the asset.
Right, because Matt, you what I'm trying to say is like, when is women held accountable though?
Okay, well let me ask.
That's the whole.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, so here's the thing. In your last statement, you basically said women are told, they were taught either by their parents or by their father. Listen, you can go, but make sure you have your own. Why would they say that? Because if a woman, and we've seen this happen, if a woman entrusts herself to a man, sometimes that man leaves or treats her horribly or leaves her with no money, and now she has no way to take care of herself. So what your parents are saying, rightly, I believe, is that, listen, if you entrust yourself, you don't know when this man's going to switch up on you, and because now you're at the mercy of that man. So if he decides to go or leave or decides to take on another girlfriend and leave you where you are with all of those children, you'll have no ways to take care of it. And that's how some of them grew up.
According to you, who told her that?
Yo, what do you mean?
Who would give her that information?
Her pops.
A man.
Right. Yeah, but Matt, listen to what I'm saying. Listen, I will raise my daughters completely different. You already they're going to be, because there's certain things I'm going to say to them because of what I'm experiencing, what I've seen, blah blah blah, life experience. So what I'm saying is sure, it's the man that's going to tell the daughters, here's what to watch out for. And as a father, you're going to protect your daughter as much as you can, right? Sure. What I'm saying is also, there is a great imbalance between accountability on the part of the woman. Oftentimes I hear, here's what the man did, and here's what the man did, and here's what the man did, and it's always the man, right? Where like the man leaves all of a sudden, right, and leaves the woman, and this woman was such a great woman, right, and the man leaves her. Why are we not asking why?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is where I want to. This is where I want
toxic women out there.
That's where I want to live at, right, for a second.
Okay.
Why? Where's the why? Why did he leave though? Can we talk about that? Can we open that up and not just say like it's the man.
Well, okay. So as far as a responsibility aspect,
thank you.
If you have children with somebody, And you know, let's just say you got married to that person. There were certain vows taken. You're not supposed to leave. But let's just say the woman was totally toxic in that situation. And you had to go for your own safety, because there are certain aspects where women are beating up on men too. So,
especially if they're an MMA fighter.
Yeah. So
What?
Especially if they're an MMA fighter.
Please show me a clip. I've never seen that in my life.
Do you want to see one?
Oh,
So yeah, so in those cases, yeah, some separation is definitely needed. I'm talking about in a lot of cases where just men just kind of pick up and leave, don't really care about the kids, and just going about their business. And I'm saying women should protect themselves from that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, women should protect themselves from that. That's what I would teach my daughters, and that's where I would keep going. But that's,
you keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
But in those special cases, yeah, even though you leave, you're supposed to take care of what your responsibility is. That's what it is at the end of the day. This is not your girlfriend. You know, once you have kids with somebody, it's not something that you can up and leave without making more single moms that the manosphere hates for being single moms, but don't say anything to the fathers. But I'm saying, you know, that's what you're supposed to do.
All right, let's pivot real quick, because I want to hear from the ladies, because we do have women in the audience, y'all, and a round of applause. But I want to hear from them, because we've been saying a lot. You know what I mean? So like, y'all could. I was waiting for Natalie. Natalie was like, "I'm going to be quiet." Y'all could.
Lies.
Ricky, you could pass now. You could pass in the mic, and we could hear some.
It's really low.
Okay.
Some perspective from our women.
How is this? Is this loud enough? Like how loud should
That's good.
it is?
Yeah.
So, full transparency, the conversation of like men versus women in the Black community annoys me, because I feel like it's just a circular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's always one person pointing fingers at the other. In response to what you said, Pat, about why is it always the man? It's not that it's always the man, it's just that more women are talking about the relationship than you do hear from men. There aren't a lot of spaces for men to talk about it. So this is why it sounds like it's always the man's fault, because the woman is going to be more vocal about what's going on. The other point I would bring out is that a lot of times in the typical situation of where when the man leaves because the woman's nagging or whatever the case may be, whatever reasons there are, both of them are coming from toxic situations and got together. Because they're just simply recreating the very life that they lived, that they grew up in. And so it ends up in this exact same place all the time, where the women are like, oh my God, man, no good, they're all jerks, I can't believe you left me. And that's why I do about making my dollars. Like, you'll hear the same rhetoric because they attracted the very men that left their mothers. Like, that's what they joined. And those men are the same ones who grew up without their father being there, and they just rehash what they grew up, what they have, what they experienced. So that's the reason why the conversations are the way they are. There's never really a conversation about a solution. Now, the other point I just want to bring up is this whole idea about like men roles and women roles. Me being Christian, my reference is, I'm always going to go back to scripture. And what's interesting is that there's a lot of conversation in scripture about father and son. It's about fathers raising children. And in the one chapter that everyone wants to call about women, Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman, she's actually a boss. She's the one working. She's the one making the money. She's the one making her man look good. And that's from the scripture perspective. So that whole idea about what the roles are, I think it really is about like what makes sense for the couple, because every person is different. In regards to the response from the lady when she said, like what she said she does for her husband, she also doesn't lay out what it looks like, because it doesn't imply that she's not working. She's what she's doing. She's attacking women who choose their careers over their man, but it doesn't mean that she herself is not working. I think it's possible to do both. I don't think being a career woman means having to work like 60, 80 hours a week. I don't think so. Especially now, after the pandemic, people are figuring out ways to work from home and to be more available and accessible to their children and to their families. So every situation is different. Again, like the conversations, you're never going to get the answers because the people are both toxic. They're never going to be able to realize what the issues are. And the roles could look very differently depending on where you're coming from. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. That's good.
That's really,
Yep. We're gonna.
I mean, she.
We're gonna respond. We're gonna respond. But let me let.
I can't.
Anybody
I
else?
can't respond to that.
Anybody
That
else
was a
on
mic
the thing?
drop. I can't respond to that. Sure you
Anybody
can.
else? No. I can respond to one thing that you said though, right? Like, men do talk.
But just not open spaces though.
Men. We have locker room and barbershop talk.
Yeah.
We just don't tell y'all.
We don't have therapy. We don't have.
We just don't tell y'all nothing.
No, well,
But trust and believe, we talking.
No, but I mean,
and barbershop talk is that talk like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, listen, you know, like, this is what's going on at the crib, like blah 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 blah. You know,
well, to be fair, our talk has a bit more gravitas than the ladies do. So,
what do you mean?
Well, this is what I mean. So, a couple weeks ago, the Lewises invited us to their home, and you know, as we've known them for years, so we were there. So, myself and Ricky were playing a board game. We were talking about stuff, and then Shakia told me. She didn't tell me what's going on, but like a couple of the topics that she and Tanya were talking about, they were like having bonding sessions and having tea and crumpets and, you know, really actually getting down to some real emotional things. We'll talk about what's going on, but we're not, the men won't really do any emotional work when it comes to that because we don't want to look weak in front of our boys. So that's not to say, you know, I don't want you to be weak and nothing like that. But I'm saying, you know, we're not gonna be like, yo, man, you know, my wife said this to me and that really hurt me, and you know, I felt like I was gonna cry a little bit.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I think men are just as emotional, man. We just process it. No. Listen
Disney films.
Listen to what I'm saying. We just process it a whole lot differently. We're
emotionally different.
We're human beings.
Yeah,
we feel the same thing. It's just we don't process it like a woman does at all. You know what I mean?
I don't think when I say we're emotional, we're not we don't allow ourselves to get. There's like a line. It was like, I can tell you certain stuff, but I'm not going to get overly emotional. Like Sean, I've known for 25 years. I don't cry in front of Sean. I don't get like real sloppy. Like, Sean, you know, man, this is crazy. This never happens. It just never happens because that's Sean. Because I know Sean, even though he'll take in that information, he'll make fun of me after. Like he'll totally understand what I'm saying. Like, you know,
and
cool.
then good. Yeah, he should make fun of you after.
The reason why I don't do it.
No. Listen. We are men. There is a certain level of testosterone you have to maintain.
No, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We will cry with you and then laugh at you afterwards.
Just prove my point.
Because you can't be a punk. You got no. Let's call it what it is.
Hey, remember that time?
You can't be a punk. We're gonna cry. We're gonna cry, but we better believe we're gonna have jokes.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
It's on.
It's on. Okay. No, what I was going to say is, yeah, I agree with you. Like we will go down and then come back up and make fun because I think we need that. That's part of what makes us work because we can't stay down there. You know what I mean? Like if
you can't afford to.
Then we can't function. Then we're not really men. We like
you can't afford to.
That's for a time. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's for, and we need to leave that quick.
Right.
That joke. We need that yo but. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if we stay down there, then we're not acting like men.
Well, see, I would disagree.
You know what I mean?
I would disagree slightly because we expect that joke just to kind of add levity to the mood. However, when you're talking about real issues, things that have hurt you, things that are deep, like either father wounds or things of that nature, if you expect to laugh there, you don't really deal, like we don't like to deal with the issue. You don't have to sit and deal with the issue because you know the joke is coming and then you can move on to something else. Well, no. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No. Joke to lighten the mood as opposed to.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, but the issue, the thing that I'm telling you is that's not the norm. With a lot of dudes, that's not the norm. You can't sit down and be like, yo, man, this is what's going on.
They don't got nobody.
You don't have nobody for that. So because you don't have anybody for that, you're forced to keep the facade. You're forced to keep that mask on, and you're not dealing with those issues. And then we bring that home to our wives, and we bring that home to our children, and be like, why is Daddy so mean? Why is Daddy? I've never seen Daddy cry. What's wrong with this guy? That's why, because they have no.
I want to say something about that in regards to the women. Yes, it's true that we may emote more when we're feeling, and we'll be more vocal, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going deep either.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll co-sign with each other's nonsense, and never even address like the real root issues that are happening, even in our very emotional, state, like crying, boo-hooing about it. We won't talk about like, well, really, what brought you to the situation. Right. A lot of us won't go there either.
Right.
So it's like, yes, you do have men who are not as emotional, or I don't want to say emotional, not as expressive in their emotion. Yeah. But you have women who are expressive but are not deep. Right.
But I would say, as far as number or as far as averages, women have more friends that they can do that with.
But still not be deep though.
Not be deep, but I'm saying you'll find like maybe one or two that you might be able to be deep with.
Very true.
But with guys, that's kind of few and far between.
Yeah,
but I'll say this:
do not have any of those.
I think men and women should get together and have these type of conversations versus talking about what a modern woman should do or what a husband should do and what's expected of them. I think they need to have some like deep emoting conversations.
Once you said modern, I'm like, okay, you can't say man and woman because now you don't want to offend anybody's pronouns. Once you said modern, I was like, no. Now we opening that can of worms. I'm not trying to.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the battle of the sexes thing, it has to stop. Like, we should be having these conversations. I think if we talked about other things. Other than just what the man should be doing in the home or the woman, the career woman, I think that you would probably find more solutions or more of an understanding to reach a solution rather than just stand your ground on what you believe the woman should be doing or what a woman believes a man should be doing. These conversations need to be had. Like, okay, your emotions. Let's talk about your emotions, because this whole household issue is going nowhere because you're not tackling the real issues.
Well, men must be taught that too, because when I was young, I was taught not to cry at all, or not to cry in public.
Listen,
I've learned that very well. So it's hard. It's been a lot of emotional work through my marriage, just trying to figure out, okay. Because if you don't get those emotions out, they're going to come out in toxic ways. In other ways. Yeah. So, I may not cry, but I may punch the wall and scare the children. It's not good. That's not good either. So,
Yo, you know what? We've had deep conversations in here, right? Me and Faco and stuff like that. And this kind of how the birth of the podcast came out, right? We'd had deep conversations in here. And I could tell you right off top, right? There are moments where you're like, well, damn, this is what the past was, and this is this, and this is kind of sad. But there are more moments of like, man, let's move on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like we ain't got no time to stay down there. Yeah, we ain't got no time at all, because if we stay down this whole, woe is me, all the life is just destroying me, and then you believe that in your mind,
you're setting that up to
no one can change that. So he doesn't. I'm sorry, y'all. And one of the things I can appreciate about that, because he doesn't allow me to even try to go down there. Right? It's almost like we're on the battlefield, right? And we're fighting. I'm wounded, bro. I can't afford to be sitting there crying that I'm wounded. We got to move.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as men, we don't got that opportunity to be like, oh, let's take a break. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, and I'm not saying unfortunately,
depends on the injury.
Fortunately, right? It's just who we are. It's just what comes with being a man. You know what I mean? It's not to say that you don't want to express your feelings. Sure, you're going to express your feelings, but you just can't stay there, not even for a little bit.
I think
right? And it's important to have people around you that can move around.
What's up, Tony?
Sorry, it's funny because I was just having this conversation about this topic with someone when we got here. And there's an article that I was sent in Psychology today the rise of lonely single men.
Oh yeah, I read that article. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I read that article.
You know what it's
Very cool.
about.
Yeah.
62% of men are on dating apps and they're lonely because apparently they don't have emotional skills.
Yeah.
So the person I was having a conversation with, to the point that all of you guys are making, a lot of times guys are not allowed to stay down, was saying that there's no excuse in 2022 for guys to not have an outlet.
Mhm.
Like when you were saying that, you know, you don't have anybody to talk to, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this, but the person who I was speaking to, they're not married. They hope to be married one day. They're in their early 30s.
Mhm.
We're saying that at this point in time, men don't have an excuse to stay down there or to bottle up whatever issues they haven't dealt with, because there's so many resources now. Mental health
Therapy.
is such a big, open, wide thing that people can talk about and discuss, that it shouldn't be that way anymore, even in the Black community. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a response that you have to
Well, no. Well, what you got, some Brice? What's up?
It's just pretty much along the lines of like therapy. You know, it's for me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable addressing all of my issues to like a complete stranger. I don't want to say what I'm going through, and then they're like, oh yeah, you know what, take these pills. You know, it's just
No, that's no. There's a difference between that's psychology and
psychology.
Yeah,
Excuse me. I do
yeah.
apologize.
For therapy, you just basically sit down. Who's somebody who is a stranger, but who is able to talk about those issues. And talking to a complete stranger is better than talking to the wall. You know, you may have to deal. You may have to deal with those situations.
Depends on how bad your breath is.
Before you become able to have a relationship. There's certain people, because of their issues, cannot have successful relationships. And if that's what you're looking for, if they said what 62% of men,
big number.
And also in this time of mental health, there are a lot of women that are saying, okay, we're not going to date you unless you got this done, because you marry that person with those mental issues that's bigger and stronger than you are. You know, once they go crazy, that's your jaw. You know, we don't want that.
That's your spouse.
Expectations getting even to the younger kids. Like my daughter is 15 and she comes home telling me stories of some of the girls who are even switching sides because they're like, I see how my dad acts. I'm not dealing with a man again. I'll deal with a woman, or you know, their boyfriend is acting crazy or something. So they're not. So the issue is bigger than I think we realize, and we're passing this along to the next generations. You know, so I don't know whose fault it is. I'm not gonna do any blame here or anything like that, but I think both parties have responsibility. I think this has to be in the Black community.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. There's dysfunction in every race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's jump in the chat real quick, right? Right. Isabel said by prioritizing ourselves around or our surrounds, such as our home, family, and friends, reflects off our happiness. Okay, I forgot what point that was too, but Raymond John said, as men, we avoid dealing with the issues. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah. And we pass those issues on, and when we see it in our kids, that's a wake-up call, but sometimes it's too late.
Now, you said something, somebody said something in terms of like, as men, it's hard to tell other men what you're actually going through.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that in itself has a little thing in it, because as men, you're always in competition with other men too. You know what I mean? So you're gonna feel that sense of you are in every sense. So I could understand why you would feel hesitant to tell another man your issue, because it comes off as being weak.
Right, but I'm saying it doesn't help you to be in competition with everybody, because you have that type of competition. If you have that type of competition with somebody, and there is in a sense trying to hurry past, like when you're in the vulnerability, there's like almost a sense of like, hurry up, okay, we can't stay in vulnerability long, so we have to get up and move. I'm saying sometimes you got to sit in that and be like, well, listen, this is my issue, or this is how my father raised me to be, and now I'm figuring out that that's wrong, and my wife is telling me that this is bad for our household, but I can't change it.
So that's ordered to break down the layers, as it were.
Oh yeah, break down the layers. But I don't know if everybody's heard it, but Kendrick Lamar's new the double CD, the Mr. Morale, that was the whole thing was dealing with mental health. and he's dealing with crazy stuff where he had to go to therapy, and his issues were allowing him to act in a way that almost made him lose his wife and things of that nature, and he's dealing with that in the CD. It's a very heavy CD to listen to.
Let's try to see if we can get that from Drake.
But but the reason that it was so good was because he's not yeah. He's sitting in those issues, and he's not allowing you to move off to something light.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I listened to that record once. I was like, this is kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
But it was good uncomfortable. But I was like, man, I feel uncomfortable.
But he's like,
But I gotta keep listening.
Yeah, I gotta keep listening. I gotta keep
everything is emotionally it's emotionally charged, and it doesn't allow you to move. It's like, listen, we're gonna deal with this, and then he'll have little intros throughout the songs. It'll be like, stop walking around the issue. Stop walking around the issue.
I have a slight. Go ahead.
No, I do apologize because you already started. Because you started talking, and then
No, okay. Well, let me just say this. I have a slight thing with that, right? Because sure, you want to stay on it and you want to do it, right? But I feel like, for me, a better strategy is to win more wars, right? Or win more battles than staying in my funk. Right, because like, for example, it's kind of like the fighter, right? Like who's fighting, and he gets hit really, really hard, right? There's two things that happens, right? He either decides like, oh snap, and he crumbles up because here comes a tornado, or he strikes back, right? And after he strikes back, then he catches his win. You understand what I'm saying? I think for me, that's a better strategy, and because once you, as a guy, man, once you start to go down that rabbit hole, right? It's really difficult, man, to just pick yourself back up and decide to like, okay, now I need to move again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
I would want to win more battles.
Right, but the thing is, sometimes you gotta stay down a little longer to compose yourself, because you ever get up too fast and just get lightheaded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there's that. I understand that situation, but I don't think that's for every situation.
And I don't think that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being in a really bad mood, or there's something that happened in your life. You had a bad day and something happened and you're in a real bad mood. I'm saying get out of that quick. What I'm talking about is because of the way that my dad treated my mom, I treat my wife horribly, and I have sex with all her girlfriends. Like that's like a root issue that you have to deal with. So you deal with that shit until it's done.
Okay, so then let's talk about it, right? Why did the dad do that?
You don't know why.
And sleep with all the girlfriends.
You never know. It could be
so was it consensual?
No, that's not. I'm not talking about the dad.
Talk about it.
I'm not talking about the dad. I'm saying because you as a child saw that.
Okay, so
it was bad for you. It was traumatic for you.
You saw your dad do
acting out.
You saw your dad do this stuff, and it's traumatic to you, right?
Right.
Okay, so all right, so then you don't know why he did it. You just saw it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and then see how it messed with your mom and all that stuff, but you wind up going out and doing the same thing. You don't know why, because you have an unresolved issue. A lot of the things we do, a lot of the negative things we do are unresolved issues that we haven't dealt with. So, and especially with men, because we don't talk about it.
We do.
And you said, as a matter of fact, you look a little uncomfortable right now, sir.
What do you mean?
You look kind
of. We do. We just don't talk about it to women. Well, most of us do.
Never talked about any of my issues to my friends.
Yeah.
I'm just a jolly guy.
You should.
Yeah, all right.
You should. No, I mean, you should though. Like, I mean, if you have to have that one friend that you could talk to like that, you have to.
You never know.
What I mean?
I mean, it's.
I would encourage that. You should.
I agree, but I mean, at the same time, it's like nowadays there's plenty of times where somebody that you think is your friend is just it's not that, and they'll use whatever you told them against you, and
man,
it's happened.
That's the wrong people, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's the wrong people. Thank you, bro.
I concur.
This is.
Your daddy hurt you, Brice. Your daddy hurt you.
Yo, this is why this space is called a sanctuary, brother. You know what I mean? Like real men, real things, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't.
It's all good. It's like, dude,
we don't play like that. We live by code.
I'm one of those people. Like, if I said my y'all made fun of it.
I'm gonna invite it to you, bro. Like we live by a code, bro. That's why here is called a sanctuary, brother. You know what I mean? Like we don't play like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't do that to another man and then just use the information against him. That's weak.
That is, yeah. That, you know what I mean? That's some toxic. That's some toxic.
That's weak.
I speak for it's happened. Yeah, shoot.
You know, like, okay, you talk about the modern woman, right?
I'm not trying to get canceled by a feminist, man. Don't do that to me, bro.
You're on the wrong podcast, sir.
Yo, is that even real in 2022?
Feminists? Yeah. Feminism still.
Could it be real?
And I think this question is
Look at a lady's paycheck.
No.
Look at a lady's paycheck.
Seriously, is that necessary in 2022?
Feminism in 2022?
Feminism, is this a thing of the past?
My coworkers at work possibly get paid like $3 less than me. Yeah, it's still a thing in 2022.
Really?
That really sucks.
Oh yeah.
Why? Yo, check out this clip. Check out this clip. I want to know what y'all think. Real quick.
Feminism give me.
And that's why I asked, like, what in 2022 in the West do I need feminism for? I can go work the same as a guy. There's nothing stopping me. I can sleep with who I want. If I get pregnant, I can go get an abortion. Like, what? I don't even know what in 2022 we need it for.
Do you know the whole story behind Coke?
It was overturned.
Oh boy. Okay, there's a lot to say.
She set me up for that. She sent me.
Yeah. Yo. Well, apparently she doesn't know history. I mean,
exactly. Like feminism opened those doors for her to do all that.
But
stuff.
does it still exist in 2022?
Dude, like I said, my coworkers at work get $3 less than me for the same fucking job.
Your coworker?
My female coworkers. My female coworkers at work.
She gets the same. She gets less than you.
She gets less. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Why?
You tell me, bro.
Okay.
But how do you know that though? How do you know she gets less?
We had this discussion. She
told you she gets less.
Yeah, but that's not just there,
and it's not even just from my credentials. Yeah. For my credentials, no, this is like we have like virtually the same credentials.
Okay, that's a particular situation, right?
No, it's
happening. Where? Well, then I'm new. Give me an example.
In any place,
in any field, entertainment. What's her name? I think what's the gal's name from the. I hate this. The gal won Best Actress. Best Actress for the Silver Linings Playbook. What's her name?
Whoever
her name is. She brought this up. She got paid like probably like $3 million less than her male coworker. Let's see.
Scarlett Johansson was one of them.
They get paid less than the men.
They get paid.
Why?
I got that clip with Jordan Peterson. I'm talking about. You want to see that?
Yeah, let's check that out real quick, and the audience can see it as well.
20 female nurses to male, that might not be quite that extreme, and approximately the same male engineers to female engineers. And that's a consequence of the free choice of men and women in the societies that have gone farther than any other societies to make gender equality the purpose of the law. Those are ineradicable differences. You can eradicate them with tremendous social pressure and tyranny, but if you leave men and women to make their own choices, you will not get equal outcomes.
Right, so you're saying that anyone who believes in equality, whether you call them feminists, call them whatever you want to call them, should basically give up because it ain't gonna happen.
Only if they're aiming at equality of outcome.
So you're saying give people equality of opportunity, that's fine.
It's not only fine, it's eminently desirable for everyone.
Because we're just told from such a young age, like there's this like pay gap and like we're oppressed. Yeah.
We are.
And men aren't. Like they don't complain. You know.
Did y'all hear what he said and understand what he said?
Yeah, he said it's not. He said it is there's not basically. Well, seemingly there's not going to be equality or parity in
the proper clip. Guys, just repeat it on the mic real quick. But basically, there was like a multivariate equation for like all the reasons why there's the pay gap technically exists. Yes, there is a pay gap. But there's a bunch of reasons. Like it's probably like 7 reasons. One of them is like agreeableness between men and women. Like men are less agreeable and women are more agreeable in general. So they'll fight more for certain things, whatever. One of the reasons is there's way more men going into like STEM fields and stuff like that, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, whatever. Like it's like 73% men or something like that. So it's like way more men are taking way more dangerous jobs. Like how many women are working in coal mines?
Well, yeah. Okay.
So and also one of the biggest reasons is that women just don't want to do these type of insane high paying jobs and spend like all those hours. It's very small. Because women, of course, there's women who want to do it, but it's a very
small percentage.
Right. Well,
and what's overblown is this idea that if you have a man and a woman working exactly the same thing, that the man is making more. And it's case by case scenario.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Here's what I would.
That's supposedly
right. Here's what I would argue.
Can you repeat that, man? I'm sorry, because I'm not on.
Oh, okay. So basically, what Faku said that there are many different reasons why that is. So women, according to Jordan Peterson, men argue they're not as agreeable. So they're gonna if you tell them what the price point is, they're gonna argue for more money, and usually they'll get it. Women are more agreeable than that, and they'll just take what you give them. Also, there are more men in STEM fields.
In STEM fields, right?
Right. So
science, technology, engineering,
73%.
math.
27% women.
Yeah.
Right. 27% women, 73% as far as
the workforce is basically 50-50.
Right.
It just shows the huge gap.
Right.
And nothing stopping from women.
And then there's also jobs that men will take that women don't want to take.
Right.
Was that the other thing you said?
No, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. One, I'm saying, speaking more so to Brice's point, because he said that he works in a field and women are in that field. Regardless of what the ratio is, there's still women doing the same job.
In that field.
You're getting paid less.
And
in what field?
You can't say
in
whatever field he's in. Whatever field he's in, there are women working there. There are men working there, and women are making less. Now, regardless of the ratio, there might be less women working there than men, but there are still women working there doing the same job for less money. And according to like I'm saying, according to
the statistics show.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it was hard. No, I'm saying
not
no
anecdotal.
No, but the thing is not anecdotal. It's actual. It's reality but that's real. Well, of course, because we don't have everybody. Hold on. No, we're not extrapolating. No, sir, we're not extrapolating anything. I'm saying based on this real person that we have in front of me, not Jordan Peterson, whom I've never met. I'm saying the person I have sitting in front of me told me that in his field, he's working, and there are women there, and they're making $3 less. And it's not just one. And it's not just one woman. Yeah. It's more than one woman there. Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. So then there's a pattern. So I'm saying in that case. Well, obviously, that's what I said like 7 times.
We said
yo.
Giant. We're talking about you're talking about specific. That sucks.
No, of course. No, but
for those women, and I would fight for them so that they could get their proper wages.
Rightfully so.
Okay.
If it's this,
you can't extrapolate that across the board.
No, I'm not trying. No. My thing is, we said what we brought. We had brought up that there was fields, but we said in entertainment.
But in the beginning, when you started speaking, you said that there is a pay gap that exists. Correct? That exists.
That's not one of the reasons. That's reason.
No, I didn't say reasons. I didn't even get the reasons yet. But I didn't even get the reasons yet. I asked you.
Hold on.
That's not a reason. What is it?
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't say a reason. No, I am about to. Hold on. You're telling me if there's a pay gap that exists, and there are men and women doing the same job.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, except for the one that you said where men might be arguing more for greater pay. Yeah. I don't know if that's true. They may be giving. What is it?
There are people. Is it?
Okay.
There are people. There are men.
This is not opinion, bro.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying.
I'm researching it.
No, it's fine.
There's nothing stopping women from joining STEM fields. Nothing. Just
at all.
In fact, I just want to show you how off you are. Like women dominate Academia, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's way more women in
No, yeah, I know.
Y'all know this. There's nothing
Okay.
stopping them except for the fact that
They just don't want to do it.
No, right. No, but you're saying you're talking about STEM. You're talking about STEM. No, I'm saying. I know no, that's your point. My point is. No, I heard you. My point is. STEM. You're talking about STEM fields. I'm fine. That's fine. They're not many in STEM fields. There's 73% of men in STEM fields. It's 23% of women. There's still 27% of women in STEM fields. So you're telling me that all 27% women have not argued for more of a paycheck. But fine. If that's true in STEM, I'm not just talking about STEM.
are getting paid their fair share, but that's why the gap exists because the number's not 50-50.
No, it doesn't have to be 50-50. I'm saying are the 73? My question is, are the 73% of women and the 27% of men getting paid the same?
Yes, they are.
That's the point.
Okay, so that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. But
the gap still exists because
they're getting paid the same.
No, that's fine. Guys.
Let's bring it back.
I'm not arguing that.
Let's bring it back.
I'm not arguing.
And I'm gonna shift it to the audience, right? They are getting paid the same. The problem is it's still 73 to 27. Exactly. So there's still a gap.
No, but if they are paid the same, there's no argument.
No, there is, because the fact is there's not enough of them in that field, right? So when in the grand scheme of things, if it's 73-20 and then there's a smaller industry, when you average it all out, it can seem like men get paid more than women.
Exactly.
No.
It's just that's what it is. But it's all right. I'm gonna shift it.
Wait, no. What I'm saying is whether it's 73-27 or whatever. I'm at my question is, are those 27% of women getting? Sir,
the answer is yes.
I need you to stop cutting me off.
But they are getting paid the same.
Okay, then that's fine. There's no argument.
Yeah, but
my argument. No. What I'm saying is my only argument. The only time I have an argument is if in fields where men and women are working the same job, one is getting paid less than the other. That's my only argument. If you're telling me that in all, but I'm talking about that. That's what I'm saying. So if there is a place or a job where women and men are working the same job and a woman is getting less, then that would be my only argument.
No reasonable person that would argue that, Dwayne. I mean, everybody.
Okay, well, if you didn't cut me off, you would hear that. We would have been.
Point that
so no, sir.
I know you can't.
I know. Let me.
People are acting as if there's this massive wage gap, and it's because of women.
No, absolutely. So then, in small cases, not STEM fields, is there a place in America or in the world where men and women are doing the same job and women are getting paid less?
Dwayne, you know that exists.
Yes.
Okay, so then, so what are we arguing then?
Pointing it out.
So then,
keep pointing out. There is still a wage gap between men and women. In fact, nurses did not get paid as much as
so then
men.
What are we arguing then?
Let me just read it. Nurses did not get paid as much as they do now until men came into the profession. This issue is also in business. All right, I'm gonna shift that. I'm gonna shift that to the. Wait, guys. Let me shift it to the audience. Say it again.
Oh, you gotta say it again.
Say it again so I can hear you.
I'm frustrated.
There's more nurses getting paid more now because the men nurses said, "I want more money," which is what naturally men are more inclined to do than women. Women are less inclined to argue, as the point was made. I mean, it's the same thing. I used to work at the 9/11 museum, so a lot of firefighters, cops, and stuff like that. There was this woman, she was a chief in the fire department, and she was always pushing this feminist ideal about we need more women in the fire department. But the fact of the matter is, there weren't a lot of women who were signing up for the job. But she was pushing this agenda that, well, they just discriminated against women. Okay, so she's in the fire department. How did you become a chief if people are discriminating against you? Okay, so, and, she's getting more women in the fire department, but the fact of the matter is a lot of women don't want to do that job. As per what he said, I mean, with the insurance liability and whatnot, a lot of women are not going into those types of fields. So it's a very straightforward answer.
So then I don't think I'm a guy. I don't want to get burned. Fire's hot. That's not.
But that's why see the narrative.
Hold on. Say it again. Say it again.
There's a wage gap and it exists because men are chauvinistic towards
Yes.
That's
Right.
not the reason.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Please
Jump in.
Please.
You're telling. Okay.
Hold on, guys.
No,
Let Ricky jump in. Let Ricky jump in.
Yeah, right.
No, well, I think one of the things. So this is still, Peterson said this as well. Even the same job, generally speaking, you hire a guy, you hire a woman, and so on. Very often, the guy will dedicate himself to the job, depending on the job, in a way that the woman does not. Okay? And one of the things he mentioned was like, we talk about sick leave, stuff like that. Generally speaking, women usually go on those things more than men do. And men sometimes commit suicide at work. You know what I mean? They don't leave. They're supposed to leave. They're doing overtime. You know what I mean? Whereas women generally, kind of like what you were saying, because they have that nurturing, they got people at home they got to take care of, they're going to leave on time. You know what I mean? Whereas the guys will be there and they're like, you still, you know what I mean? That whole thing of like, what is it? Like, when are you coming home? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of women are asking them, and when are you coming home? Because they're doing overtime. They're like, oh, again? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're doing the same job, but sometimes the men spend more time there. Or if you're an employer, right? You have a business, right? You see what I'm saying? Like you're getting more from this one, from that one, than that one. Shouldn't you reward, accordingly? That would make sense. That's pure and simple. So like that's some of the things I think that is not really, put out there. And stuff, even though, yes, they're both doing the same job. And again, I'm not against women, taking their, maternity leave and absolutely. Because they want to take that and I want them to take that. And I would like the guys not to die at work, but that's how it is.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Let's Now, you want to say something before I pivot to a clip?
Yeah, I just want to just add to that. I think what makes this conversation so frustrating is because this need to want to put things in the perfect box all the time. And we don't want to take into consideration all the various factors that make anything. So it's always this back and forth. And that's the way, especially in our Western culture, you got to either be red or blue, or you got to be left or right. There's never a space to have a conversation to take all these things into consideration. And it leaves room for people to have these fights and to make these arguments. And then this is why you have like so many different movements. And again, I'm not saying the movements are not necessary. I just think that the movements could look different if we're having the right conversations.
I agree with that, and to a certain point as well, because I'm saying one of the things I could add to that is, yes, women, to your point, Nat, there's a lot of specifics that we're not talking about, right? And when you made your point, Brice, right, my thing was, okay, did you see her paycheck? Did she go to that lens and say to you,
no, she didn't put her paycheck.
So here's my thing. So no, but check it out. Check what I'm saying. I'm being real specific, right? Yeah. Like I'm not saying you guys have that type of relationship where she would do that. But what I'm saying is, yeah, people can say whatever the hell they want.
Not bring out her pay stub.
No, but sometimes people can say something. People can say something just to get you to agree with certain things that they're trying to.
Of course.
But it doesn't mean that that's what's really happening. You know what I mean? That's also a nuance that we have to pay attention to. Like, sure, we can say, oh, here's the statistics, but do you know people personally? Did you see their checks? Are you their boss? Like, we don't know those factors. So we can't come out here rah-rahing and saying like, yeah, they get paid less. Do you know that for a fact? You don't. Right, Bob.
No,
let's go to this clip.
Your wife said they do, so I believe you are.
I mean, even her, she can say that. That's still a statistic.
Okay.
She don't know that for a fact. Have she seen everybody's check? No, you haven't.
I got a little bit more. If you got
Go ahead.
Or you want to?
No.
The Census Bureau 2022, according to the census.
Sure, everybody lies.
That predicts salary. No, I'm saying that that's one component of a multivariate equation that predicts salary. It accounts for maybe 5% of the variance, something like that.
So surely
you
the
need about
answer-
another 20. You need about another 18 factors, one of which is gender. And there is prejudice. There's no doubt about that. But it accounts for a much smaller proportion of the variance in the pay gap than the radical feminists claim.
Okay, so rather than denying the pay gap exists, which is what you did at the beginning of this conversation, shouldn't you say to women, rather than being agreeable and not asking for a pay rise, go and ask for a pay rise? Make yourself disagreeable with your boss.
Oh, definitely, there's that. But I also didn't deny it existed. I denied it existed because of gender.
Okay.
See, because I'm very, very, very careful with my words.
So the pay gap exists, you accept that, but you're saying, I mean, the pay gap between men and women exists, but you're saying it's not because of gender, it's because women are too agreeable to ask for pay rises. So
It's
make
one
them,
of the reasons.
Okay, one of the reasons. So why not get them to ask for a pay rise?
I've
Wouldn't
done
that be
that.
a fairer
I've done
way of
that
proceeding?
many, many times in my career.
And they just
I've
don't?
counseled. Oh, they do it all the time. You can. It's so one of the things that you do as a clinical psychologist is assertiveness training. So you might say, often you treat people for anxiety, you treat them for depression, and maybe the next most common category after that would be assertiveness training. And so I've had many, many women, extraordinarily competent women, in my clinical and consulting practice, and we put together strategies for their career development that involve continual pushing, competing for higher wages, and often tripled their wages within a 5-year period, teaching
you
them how to
celebrate that?
negotiate. Of course.
So
Of
do
course.
you agree that you would be happy if that pay gap was eliminated completely?
It
Because
would
that's all
depend.
the radical feminists are saying.
It would depend on how it was eradicated and how the disappearance of it was measured.
And you're
These
saying
things
if
you
it's at the
can't- you
cost
can't-
of men, that's a problem.
Oh, there's all sorts of things that it could be at the cost of. It could even be at the cost of women's own interests. So
Because they might not be happy if they get equal pay.
no, because it might interfere with other things that are causing the pay gap that women are choosing to do.
Like having
Well-
children.
Well, or choosing careers that actually happen to be paid less, which women do a lot of.
But why shouldn't women have the right to choose not to have children or the right to choose those demanding careers?
They do. They can. Yeah, that's fine.
But you're saying that makes them unhappy, by and large.
I'm saying that no, I'm not saying that. I actually haven't said that so far. in
You're
the
saying
program.
it makes them miserable.
No, I
at the
said that
beginning.
what was making them miserable was having weak partners. That makes them miserable.
Right.
I would say that many women around the age of, I would say between 28 and 32, have a career family crisis that they have to deal with. And I think that's partly because of the foreshortened time frame that women have to contend with. Like, women have to get the major pieces of their life put together faster than men, which is also partly why men aren't under so much pressure to grow up. So because for the typical woman, she has to have her career and family in order pretty much by the time she's 35, because otherwise the options start to run out. And so that puts a tremendous amount of stress on women, especially at the end of their 20s.
I think I take issue with the idea of the typical woman because, you know,
right? And you don't have the same clout as people that's been there and that's done the work. How are you coming up talking about I need equal pay? Like, first of all, is it your company?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't your company. You don't like you are called to come to a job, right? Sure, if me as a CEO, and if I feel like that person's value or this man's value is greater than your value at this point, and I need to pay him more, even though the roles might be similar, I'm gonna pay him more. I'm the CEO. You ain't got nothing to do with that. You understand what I'm saying? Those things people don't talk about, it's part of it too. Like, you got to understand, at the grand scheme of things, you're walking into an organization, somebody called you for a job that's not yours, right? Why are you crying? Then if you're crying, make it yours. Do your own thing. You're not going to do your own thing. So why are you going to go to Hollywood and cry broke? Then start your own thing then.
You got to tell that to Monique.
Like, but that's that's my thing, and this is why I have high respect for like people like Tyler Perry as well, right? Like, if you're going to have that much disdain towards that situation, start your own.
Yeah.
Because you can't walk up in somebody's house talking about that's mine. You know what I mean? Like, they built it, and which is also why I never get artists that pull up to anything that you didn't build and expect work for free, and then turn around and get mad, but like, oh, this, and I'm talking about women. Oh, this man, he's trying to make a pass at me. He's trying to do something. Listen, let me tell you something, man. You're trading value. You're trading goods. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you're coming up there with your hands on a platter like this, talking about give me, and this man sit up here and built his studio and sweat and built his multi-million-dollar company and sweat and did that, and you had nothing to do with that, and you come in here, give me, what the hell do you think he's going to ask you?
I mean, unless you're a victim of Harvey Weinstein.
No, but what I'm saying, sure you want to say Harvey Weinstein is the devil, right? Sure, I don't know his nuances. I don't know like what the hell that he actually did. My point is the fact that don't come to an organization demanding that this is what you should get when that you didn't create that organization. You're asking for a job, right? You are not going to get what the CEO gets. Of course. You're not going to get what the CEO, if the CEO has favorites, so be it. That's what it is. You don't get to decide because you don't own it. That's what I'm saying. You can't pull up in a hospital talking about, oh, I need to get this, I need to get this, this man gets this. If the boss decides to say, like, actually, I want him to get that because I just don't like you. You don't have a choice. You either say yes, okay, I'll take what you pay me, right? Because you could say all you want, discriminate. Like, everybody can cry discrimination and go to court and go through that whole thing, right? But behind closed doors, a man can just decide, or a woman that owns a company can decide to say, I'm going to give him the job because I like him and not you. And they have that right. So now you don't get, as a woman or anybody that's complaining about fair wages, you don't get to decide. And if you create it, then okay, that's yours. You decide, right? But if you did not create it, you don't. Bro.
No, I don't know if they can. There's things like nepotism. There are things that, you know, if you could find, if those are things that you can actually prove. Sure. But nepotism is actually illegal.
There was no sound. That is wrong. That is an abuse of power. Sure, that's an abuse of power. Respect is a human right. Sure, no, that's illegal. Sure, it is. It's all of the above. You can say all of that stuff, but the truth of the matter is, when you walk up into somebody else's establishment, you cannot be expecting. They created it. You cannot be expecting to get the same wages as that person. And number two, if that person decides to say, I like Faye Cool and I don't like Dwayne, he might not say it in public.
Of course.
Right? He might just say, yo, you know what? I just mess with Faco a little harder than I mess with Dwayne. Well, yeah. Let me give him more to pay.
That's usually how it works.
That's how on the high. Yeah. Yo, in the entertainment industry, entertainment industry, that's how it works. And it's relationship. It's not necessarily your talent all the time. It's relationship. Like people gotta really be able to rock with you.
Right.
That's how you get that, man. You don't get that because you think that you do the same thing as the man. No. Or you do the same thing as the woman. No. It's bottom line, it's not yours. Sure, there are laws, but what's the percentage of people that's going to take every single time that they feel mistreated to court? They're not.
I mean, all you need is that one good one to take you to, and there are there are a lot of people, especially in the place where I work. That's what unions are for. Like, you're just like, oh, well, this person was treating me because, they're treating me this way, or they're paying me less because of this. Well, if you have a union, they're like, all right, well, let's figure this out, and then that's where they come.
Listen,
from. But no, to speak to your point, that is correct. If you're behind closed doors and it was like, well, I'm just going to hire this person not because they're necessarily better or know more, but we're just going to do that.
Right. When you're dealing with unions, that will always be the case.
That's where you go. That's where you end up anyway.
You're saying that everything is not fair and we need to decide and legislate.
Oh, you need that mic. Yeah.
If you legislate what's fair and what not, then you're going to have to go. I don't know if you've ever read the Communist Manifesto.
I have, yes.
Okay. Then you're going to go to that then. Because there's always going to be someone, the have-nots, those who are the slaves, the workers, are always going to be upset because they don't have as much as the boss.
Well, yeah, no, it's not the
Get into that communism.
It's not the serfs and the bourgeoisie. I'm saying if I've agreed to for a certain, like, this is going to be a job, like the story in the Bible. Everybody gets one talent, whether you came in at 9:00, whether you came in at 11:30, right before I'm letting you go. Everybody's getting one talent. It's fair. You may not like it because we did work all day. No, y'all get the same one talent. However, if I now give you one talent, and for that same day of work, I'm giving somebody 5 talents for the same job, then we have issue. So I'm saying, yeah, if everybody's getting, if I'm saying this is the job that we're working, you're not going to make as much as the CEO. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if I picked up a hoe, no, that's wrong. If I picked up like some other garden tool, not a hoe, and I'm working, I'm doing the same amount of work, and you're getting 5 talents and I'm getting 1, I think there's an issue.
But yeah, and then they're lost to that, as Treese has eloquently said, right? They're lost to that. But what I'm saying to you is, when you sit in a room, listen, when you're sitting, you everybody can have these statements, but until you are in the room with the real heavy hitters, though, and really know how they talk for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like yeah, man. Like you don't.
Would you really want to be in the same room with Ellie and
I have been in rooms. No, I absolutely have been in rooms. I have been in rooms I have no business being into, according to what I think I'm talented for.
Nice.
Absolutely. Wait. I'm talking from experience, real talk. Like, I'm talking because I'm like, yo, I've heard these conversations from people that make the world move, bro.
Anybody,
so what I'm saying to you is, from a real point of reference, they don't care. They don't care. You know what gets you in the room? Because you are somebody that they like and they enjoy being around. That's it. After that, if they don't like you, they enjoy being around you, you ain't getting the job. No matter how much court case you want to pull up, you're not going to win because you don't have enough money to battle billionaires, bro. It's not happening. So what I'm saying to you is, that's what happens in the room. It's your relationship with people. How are you able to come inside a room and be valuable in that room, right? If that's not the case, you could throw up all your credentials all you want and all your degrees all you want. You will still not get this. You're not going to get the same.
But it's not about.
You're just not. And that's the reality of what's happening right now.
It's not about whether or not somebody likes you. Usually they hire people they know. They hire the people they know. So the person that you might have all these degrees, all these doctorates, but they hire their cousin that just has a high school diploma. Why? Because they can. That's just how it works. But it's not because you're like a star individual or you have a great personality. You might just have one, but they hire the person that they know. Perfect example. Remember Black Lives Matter? I know that's 2 years ago. Black Lives Matter was huge during the pandemic, and they amassed millions of dollars through donations. So the person at the top, I think it was 3 women, but one of the people at the top hired a brother for security, hired a couple of other people, and put him in high-ranking positions, not because they were necessarily qualified, but that was the people that they knew. And then I think she wound up spending millions of dollars on mansions that she got in California. And plot twist, they were all in majority white neighborhoods. So I guess you feel safe around those white folks. But anyway, I say all of that to say, a lot of times when it comes to when it's people that you like, has nothing to do with their aptitude. It's just, I just happen to like that person. That person has a high school diploma. He never went to middle school, but I'm going to hire him for something because I like him. But that's what it comes down to. And that's why we have laws. So they can continue to do that. But if they're stupid like that, what's that Donald guy, the basketball guy that had a problem with Magic Johnson?
The Clippers.
Donald Sterling. If you happen to get videotaped or saying certain things, then to bring your empire down. But right now we know it happens. We know it happens.
That's the prime example. That's the prime example, right? Like these conversations happen all the time, right? And guess what? You're not included. They decide what they want. And here's in all fairness, I'm not condoning anybody's behavior that hurt somebody. I don't know what happened to Rich. I can't speak on that. All I'm saying is, if it ain't yours, stop complaining. Create your own. It ain't yours to begin with. Like, what are we talking about?
Or unionize.
Like we do that too. No, but it ain't yours.
Yeah.
It just ain't. It depends. Even unionize. Did you create the union?
In regards,
you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't create. It's almost like this entitled feeling like nobody creates anything, but we're like, please give us. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, dude, if you have like $900 billion, you can't afford to pay your employees a little bit better.
I could decide if I have $900 billion, right? And this is the thing with women, or not with women, with men especially. If I have $900 billion, you can't decide to tell me how I spend my money. I work hard for that joint, right? So if I decide to give to somebody, because I decided to give it to somebody. What I'm saying is, it's this entitlement of like we move less towards creating our own and more towards putting our hands out. Yeah. Right? Like we're on TikTok going crazy, but the Chinese government owns it.
Quick question.
And we're sitting on TikTok fighting each other, going nuts.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't own not a damn thing. We don't own a damn thing. That station is in Beijing, bro. That company's in Beijing. And we sitting out here going crazy. Look at us. Look at us. We don't own shit. Sorry. But it is. We don't own not a damn thing. Like, stop complaining. Like, okay.
Sorry,
I digress.
It's forgotten because even in the black community, remember after slavery, they weren't looking for handouts. They were looking to do things themselves.
Yeah, they were.
We've come to this point in history where we have amnesia, we forget all that, and we're still looking for somebody to give us a handout. But that's not what they were doing initially when they came up with that.
Well, no. Well,
we're still waiting for 40 acres and a mule.
I'm not talking about welfare. I'm saying if I'm working for you, if I'm working now as far as post-slavery, yes, I think we did better, and I think we messed up with the civil rights movement. But we wound up messing up because we integrated, as Martin Luther King said, into a burning house. So now because at that point, white folks wasn't messing with us, so we had to get everything on our own. And there was a great, business. You had Black Wall Street, you had all those stuff. And then after civil, and then after
messing with them.
They were. But you know what I mean. No, but you know what I mean. But I said, when the civil rights came in, and as one person would say, the white man's ice was colder, or his women were better, or things of that nature. So that's why we integrated into that. So.
I mean, like that. It's always like if you're gonna go back there, because I mean, like even the whole. I read this one story even about watermelon. No, like
it's not offensive. It was this
derogatory.
It
was derogatory because
white people.
It was a cash crop for black people, and they were killing it. Selling watermelon, growing and selling.
And white people came about and said, "Oh, this is offensive."
Yes. Wasn't the Capitol Records that released that record?
Yeah. Yes.
It was Capitol Records.
Yeah.
That released that.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Atlantic?
Atlantic or Capitol, one of them.
RCA. Whoever.
There's a whole bunch of minstrel songs. There's not just that one. There's that one. There's like a lot of them. It's like a crazy amount. Yeah.
So I think that in regards to race, I think that like they were calling. I mean, black people were calling the shots. But when you're constantly like everyone talks about Black Wall Street, but we know what happened with Black Wall Street,
and not just them. Yeah, there were other,
there were
other places.
Yeah,
there were
towns.
Central Park.
Central Park. Central Park used to be a black neighborhood. You saw what happened.
Seneca, was it Seneca?
Seneca, New York.
Yeah. So, like when you're constantly being put down, and then not only that, you killed your leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like we talk about civil rights movement, but those guys were killed. Even when they were coming into another frame of thinking, they were, they were put down. So like you have a community of people with no direction, no guidance. So what are they supposed to do? Now they're at the line waiting for the handout. Whereas before they were producing their own. And it's like everybody's trying to get back to that type of mentality. I'll say this, and this might rub people the wrong way. I just don't think that we were called. Okay, I'll just say this: unless God tells you to own it, you're not called to own it.
Okay, talk about that.
I believe that you're supposed to be a steward, not an owner. Because the minute you own, you now take away the dependency of the person who is that you're managing it for.
God.
Exactly. When you rip land from somebody, when you take that, now you become the owner. You have to fend for yourself. So guess what you have to do? I got to take people to help run it for me. I don't believe that's the way it was supposed to be.
Tell that to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Well, we live on an earth that we're the only beings that has to pay to live here.
Right.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. Why is it like?
Right.
I mean, I know.
Why can squirrels go to tree to tree?
I mean,
gathering acorns.
we live in that world, right?
You bastards.
Right? The dogs don't have to pay. The animals don't have to pay.
Pay for water,
But we have to pay. We have to pay.
don't pay for
We have to pay to live here.
water.
You know what?
electricity.
It's not fair. But you know what it is? Whoever gets to the cheese first makes the rules. This is as much as I would agree with that. That's not our circumstances on this earth right now. So yes, we must. The reason why we must take it by force. The Bible also talks about that too. Is because that this is the law of the land now. This is our reality. This is what we're living in.
The problem is,
right?
Well, let's be real. Okay, whether it's conspiracy or not, the person who comes up with the idea to do it on their own, all of a sudden, is silence. So the person who figures out how to make a car run on water
dies.
Right, but I agree with you.
The other person who's saying,
I agree with you. Can I add to that?
I'm creating I see the cheese. I'm gonna get it.
Can I add to that?
The guy.
Can I add to that? The reason that happens. The reason that happens is because if you're talking about black people, we don't have a strong infrastructure. And you know what, for us, we were so damaged from slavery, right? I can't stand to see you start a water company because I want to start a water company too, because I'm always trying to, we have this complex of always trying to.
Who's to say that there was a black person that did that to?
So here's what I'm saying though. I'm saying, yes, I'm agreeing with the fact that, yeah, sure, you start something and somebody want to shoot it down, right?
Yeah,
right. Not just we don't because they hate. It's not out of hatred. It's not necessarily out of hatred, but it's also to appease Massa. It's like, oh, Massa won't like us.
That's an infrastructure problem.
No, it's not an infrastructure problem.
No, it is.
No, you're a threat to my cheese.
Yes.
So if more people follow your plan of action, what happens to what I established?
I still put all that under the infrastructure,
and also
infrastructure in terms of like how we move strategically.
Well, that's a very good question. It said which group benefited most from welfare and affirmative action. It was like white people. Statistically, white people are more on welfare. So
who benefited more?
Yeah, white people benefited more from welfare.
Yeah. We get the idea that it's mostly black folks on welfare.
That
came from Reagan. The whole welfare queen Reagan stuff that came from Ronald Reagan. So
Who?
Ronald Reagan.
The actor? Joking. I know he was a president.
I feel circling back to that. I feel what you're saying in terms of like when we start something, and if I'm hearing you correctly, that it gets shut down, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, then here's the question: why does it get shut down, and who does it get shut down by?
Well,
the powers that be that won.
Yeah, exactly. It's the powers that be, because you're now a threat to an economy and a whole economic system that's based on, like, we talk about gas or oil. You're a big threat to the whole oil
industry.
Imagine if, I think I might have said this before. What if that guy who said, "Okay, I'm gonna show people how to let your car run on water." In fact, you see these local mechanics off Boston Road, whatever, Gun Hill Road. I'm gonna show these mechanics how to tweak your engine to run on water.
Get rid of him.
Exactly.
But again, I think it's an infrastructure problem, right?
Okay, do you want
because if I found that secret, right? Go ahead. Go ahead, grab it.
Imagine a guy, just repeat this, imagine a guy, same scenario, that decides he's going to disrupt the oil industry and decides he's going to make a bunch of electric cars.
Yeah.
Actually does it. And it's actually successful. Blows everybody out of the water. Kills all the legacy automakers. They all want him dead, but he's alive somehow. Still. Right? To your point. Kills the industry, becomes the richest man in the world. The company's projected to be a $10 trillion company.
And then he buys.
And we're talking about Elon Tesla. Elon Musk.
Like Matt, the point is, please repeat it. The powers that be, I agree with you, man. Why can't we be that? We don't have none of that power.
But the problem is,
there's actually
have that power.
There's like kids in Africa that like made cars, like actual cars.
There was
actual cars.
Okay,
I kid you not.
The guy in Buffalo, New York, who came up with the hydrogen engine.
Yeah.
Somehow he died in that shooting.
Yeah, I know, but
he didn't have the backing. He didn't. You know what I think? Here's what I say. Here's what I mean. Here's what I mean by infrastructure.
He basically wanted to like create an African currency.
Obama.
Gaddafi. Currency, and that became a threat in itself. Where is he at?
Obama killed it. Obama killed that.
It has a lot to do with the color of your skin. It has a lot to do with the powers that be, who are dictating what the cheese really is. Because once you decide to say like, okay, the cheese is gonna be something else.
Yeah.
Like
we go.
So the question is,
what we want, and that's it.
So next, the question is, how do we solve that problem? I agree.
That's the problem now. Right. So then
there could be a way.
That's where I was going to. That's where I was saying.
Now Brice ends up missing.
Thank you.
Like 2 weeks later after this fight.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? Shut up. Exactly. Matt, thank you.
Brice slit his throat apparently.
Thank you, Navi. Because you know what?
Mysterious circumstance.
You know what? Because one of our biggest issues is we talk too damn much. Stop talking on social media. And on top of that too, we're on social media talking. I don't know if it's not. I think you know what I mean? Well, like we can't seem to get it together.
Yeah, I think actually, well, not because she's my wife, but I think she brought up a great point. Shakir brought up a great point. She said we can sit here and say the problem is the powers that be, but currently our problem is really us, the mentality and behavior of those in our own community.
Yes.
There are problems in communities that our own people are continually creating, and many of us avoid.
Okay, let me give you a scenario right now. Let me give you a scenario. Respond to it. All right, fine. Respond to it.
Okay, I definitely understand that, but I think that's whole part of the whole gaslighting issue. If anybody knows about abuse and the way like narcissism works, it's like I'm gonna beat you down, and then when you react, I'm gonna say it's your fault. So yes, it's true. We do have to take accountability for our own actions, but at some point, we gotta realize, why do we think this way? Why are we acting this way? Why do we behave this way? Because you've been beat down for centuries, for so long, to get to the point where you can't even like think.
Well, here's a question I'm gonna throw to everybody.
I'm not saying not to change the way we think, but to realize that there's a reason why we think the way we think. And I think We shouldn't spend so much time yelling at each other. Oh, it's the way you think. It's the way you think. It's the way you think. When we realize, okay, we think like this for a reason. Let's go back and like train. Let's build up. Let's actually teach so that people are not thinking the way they should.
So let me ask you.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it though. Here's the thing about it though. A lot of our leaders.
Hold on.
A lot of our leaders were not killed by white folks. So when it came to Medgar Evers, he was trying to get black people to vote. Black people killed him. When it came,
no, he right. No, he right.
There was a couple, yeah, black, yeah.
No way.
When it came to Malcolm X, black people killed him. Nipsey Hussle, black people killed him. So so that's the thing. A lot of it within our own community.
My thing is, let me throw a scenario out there. Let me throw a quick scenario out to you guys, real quick, right? And I want everybody to just go crazy with this, right? Here's the first question. Why the heck do we hate us so much? No, seriously.
Slavery.
No, seriously.
Put that
No. Why do we hate us so much? That's the pocket that real quick, right? And the next question is too, if we're all in this room right now, right? We're blacks, Latinas, we're mixed Asian, we're here, right? If one person in here said, yo guys, I have 300 acres of land I'm getting ready to buy. I want to build a community. I want y'all to be in with me, right? Yo, the statistics show at least one of y'all in this room is going to do something to throw this whole shit down. Yo, that's what it says. Why, yo? Dwayne. I just told y'all I have 300 acres.
We're gonna figure this out.
Yo, we're gonna figure this out. I told y'all, everybody in this room, everybody's gonna answer, everybody in this room. I told y'all I have 300 acres, which means you can have 10 acres and I would probably never see you.
No,
right?
Somebody gonna shut it down.
It's why is it that one of y'all in the room is gonna shut it down? One of y'all in the room is gonna have a secret conversation.
All disciples, they gotta be one.
We're trying, yo. We can't seem to get it together, yo. Why do we hate us so much? Please,
again,
please.
I said this mental slavery.
One of us, yo.
Yeah, it's gonna be one. It's gonna be one. It gotta be.
So which one is it in this room? Who's the imposter? You know what I mean? Like, yo, we're trying to build a whole civilization with 300 acres. Here comes Matt. Matt goes, well, I don't know about that one. Yo, Matt, I'm giving you 10 acres, yo. What do you mean you don't know about that one? Yo.
I don't like to split. I want
more acres. Say it ain't so.
Space ninjas are gonna need.
You know what?
Hey, yo. Come on, man.
I just can't get it. Man. I don't understand.
Yeah, man. That's the reason.
There's always one of us.
It always be us, man. Because most of the time, other races will leave you alone. It be us sometimes, man. It be
us most of the time.
Yeah.
For real though, what's the real?
Yo,
I don't know.
I'm touching mental slavery. Mental slavery.
No, what's the
mental slavery?
No.
All these other cultures.
What's wrong?
The Jewish community.
What's happening?
The Jewish community. Crap to the barrel, yes. The crap to the barrel mentality.
Somebody gotta give me something.
It's an excellent question, but I just realized something though. I think that when we talk about other cultures, we are dealing with specific cultures versus the entire black race is something else. So we do say why we do that to ourselves, but within the black race are multiple cultures. So it's easier for China to rise together because they have a way of thinking collectively that black people as a whole does not have for different reasons.
Yeah.
So whether it's like the slavery history or because you have Africans who think differently because some of the countries are not colonized. They don't have the same experience that some African Americans have here on this side. So it's not always easy to put an entire race together when you're talking about why we don't get together. Nonetheless, that doesn't answer your question. Because that's, I don't know.
We have
No, even
we
with-
have. I'm gonna say it again.
I'm saying
we have
even
2
within the
minutes.
tribe, even within
We
the
have
tribe,
three-
you have. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you have African Americans. You may have somebody from a particular island. I don't know. Pick an island. I don't know. Trinidad. Okay, Trinidad. You can't get Trinidadians to do it together. I'm saying,
Dude.
so it's not. So within.
We have 300 acres. I'm going to go back to it. We have 300 acres. We're going to build a new society off grid.
Yeah,
We're going to have our own farm. Please, Matt, let me finish, Matt. Let me go. Yo, one of y'all going to mess it up.
Because space is on top. Because you're on top.
Oh my God.
You're on top. You're making.
You want to know?
You're making most of the money. You're protecting black people to fall.
There's gonna be a secret gap.
You're making all the.
You're going to be what?
You're getting all the props. I'm not to kill you.
They're gonna be an acre gap. Wow. Okay, we're gonna end it with that. Yo. All right, Matt finished it. Yo, son. Yo. Matt said they're gonna be an acre gap. Yo, listen, man. This has been a great conversation. Yo, y'all already know what it is. Thank you for our guests for coming through, for our ladies for chiming in, Ricky. Everybody, yo, thank you for so much for coming in. Yo, Uninvited Podcast, man. Y'all tune in. We're out. We'll let you know when we're back. All right. Peace.